All righty. Hey, everybody out there in Facebook world. I know you guys are wondering, like, what is going on? It is 7 o'clock, and I am this woman is here. So let me tell you what happened. The crazy Zoom that is going on. We keep on having issues with that. Hey, Deb, I'm going to ask you to get your earbud if you have earplugs because there's a vibration going on. I'm going to get mine too. Okay. So we'll be right back. See, this is all learning stuff. Just in case, if you're out there and you're wondering, let me tell you something. Anytime you're going to do a Facebook Live, anytime you're going to do something like this, you're going to have things that happen. And it doesn't mean you stop doing it. What it means is you keep on going, you work through the kinks. Zoom had issues this morning. So, with Zoom having issues, I was like, what is the next way to be able to go ahead and to do this, right? And to figure this out. Well, guess what? My darling friend Norman said, you know what, do StreamYard. And so here we are in StreamYard, and it's great because now we have these wonderful little things that we get to throw into place, would be a guest on our show. And that way I don't have to keep on saying that. And then I'm going to get to introduce. And so this is a better way of doing it. And when you are really committed to doing a show like this, you want to have the right tools. All right. So because I have a vibration and I hear it, they're suggesting that we put on earbuds. So if you are here and if you are watching, keep on watching. But our guest today, I'm going to go ahead and introduce her now while she went to get her earbuds, is Debora Nelson. So Debora is a 2 times best-selling author. She's a transformational speaker. She's a writing coach, and she's an Army officer. My father would be so proud because he was in the Army for 21 years. So she is here today to talk about past failures, igniting her purpose, and balancing being a person in the Army, the officer in the Army, and then really building her company and creating her dreams. So I would say this. If you are someone that you still have your full-time job and that's the job that you do and you're paying the money you pay, and then all of a sudden you all have this, this passion and this drive, this is a really, really great opportunity right now to be able to go ahead and to hear someone who is going through the same things, because this is where you end up working late at night, getting up early in the morning, working on the weekends. These are the things that you end up doing, because I can tell you there's always so much going on. Think that somehow it's just going to automatically just boom, it's going to come to you like that. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. What you have to do is you have to be a person who is committed to being able to do both things. Hey, Deb, you're back.
Hi.
Hi. You're like, I can't find my earbuds, right?
No.
Isn't that awesome? Life
Yes.
is so good. All right. So I gave them a little introduction of who you are.
Okay.
And I was telling them just the fact of it is that here you are, you're a 2 time best-selling author, a transformational trainer, a writing coach, an Army officer. So not just an Army officer. What's your title? I always tease you about this.
So currently, right now, I'm a detachment commander. This is my second time commanding. Barbara, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. You got my bio 100% correct. So that's what I'm doing right now. So for civilians or people who are not used to military terms, you can compare a detachment commander to a manager for over 150 people.
Wow. Okay. That's huge. But you're also balancing that with creating like your business, your dream.
Yes.
And so I'm going to go and grab my earbuds so I can make sure I don't have this vibration going on. But meanwhile, entertain everybody, right? Tell them where you are now. And now, because I know what you're up to, because we talk all the time, share with them a little bit.
Okay, awesome. So, just like Barbara said, right now I am currently standing up and operating a business. I recently was doing fashion design for a couple of years. I actually originally went to school to be a fashion designer. And over the time, while being at the Art Institute, I decided to do something different. I felt like I had more to provide this world and I wanted to do something with purpose. So, I changed my school and I went to school for ROTC. And then 4 years later, I commissioned as an officer. So I kind of had that same epiphany when I was working on my businesses. I was like, hey, fashion design serves like my hobby. It serves what I like to do, but I want to do something that can impact others, impact people, and leave a lasting impression. So right now, my books, they're self-help books, um, Christian-based books. I wrote a devotional just recently, and then I co-authored a book, and then also my business is based on empowering people to be the best version of themselves by being mentally, physically, and spiritually balanced.
So I love that. So I think this is super, super important to kind of realize when you're thinking about that. And you said your business inspires people. So it's not about, like for me, it's mostly women empowerment. I do have
Yes.
some men on the show, but your whole goal is to really support men and women in what they're up to and what they're creating.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me how, based on being in the service, how does that tie in? Because see, I know how structured you are. I know how like really militant you are. So how is that when you're working with civilians also because of the fact that totally different mindset,
So
right?
it's yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's definitely been a transition, especially like with the terminology that I use. So I've come to understand that I have to always like transition words so that I am communicating with non-military people, or if I'm talking about something military related, because quite honestly, is very much the same. Being a detachment commander is like being a CEO of a business, right? Same structure. You're managing. You have processes. You have to start things from scratch. There's really no difference, but transitioning into a business separate from the military, the one thing that is the foundation of it all is purpose. In the military, I absolutely love it. What keeps me in the military is people, serving people, and taking care of people. As far as business is concerned, you still have to care for your employees, care about the vision, and care about the company's impact. So quite honestly, I'm doing the same thing with my business and with the military, just two different hats.
And I like that because I mean, I see you in your uniform and I love the fact that, first of all, thank you for your service.
No, my
Yeah.
pleasure.
And I know because I know you're working, like you are now up to 5 days a week
Yes,
and you're going into the office and you are working, you
yes.
know, which I think is with everything that's kind of going on. And so you're 5 days in the office, you're in the process of building a business. And how are you balancing all of that? Besides calling me or texting me going,
Barbara, Barbara's how I'm balancing it. No. So I would say honestly, it was a huge transition. Like I know I was going to have to go back to 5 days a week, but the biggest thing that's been keeping me sane is organization. I can't stress that enough. Having planners and separating work goals and then my business goals, and then honestly, two other major things: a support system. So, Barbara, you play a huge role in that, accountability partner, super motivated, and other people, like minded people that understand, that can remind me, like, you can still pursue your passion and work, or you can still give 110% at work and fulfill your passion.
mm-hmm.
And then,
Huge, huge.
yes,
I always say that. I always say, who's in your circle? And, I'm fortunate that you're in my circle. So you definitely keep me on my toes. And I know we've had many like 2-hour phone calls when we're going and talking about everything that's happening. So I think it's so important to have that partner, to have someone where you're able to know that you can, really contact them and talk to them about what's happening and what's going on. Now, I know you are a two-time best-selling author. So you've written a book, right? Which is incredible because
yes,
I would love to write a book. We've talked
you're
about
going
that.
to.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know we talked about it because that is to think and say, yes, I want to write a book is one thing. To step and to do the writing of the book is a whole nother kind of thing. And yesterday I was going to have somebody I was doing an interview for the book and she didn't show up. Right. And I was like, that's okay. I rescheduled it. I got it taken care of, but I'm finally making the steps to do the things that I need to do.
awesome.
Um, that's a lot. I have to tell you, it is probably one of the toughest things that I'm doing, you know, one of the toughest. So I would say, that it is such a big thing because you're working on creating a program to help besides help people to really find who they are and what they're up to, you're also working on creating for writers. So if you want to become an author, so tell us about that, because that I'm super excited. I'm scared as ever, but I don't want to do it, and I'm super excited as well.
So first and foremost, you're doing the right thing because it is one of the most scariest experiences, but it's one of the most rewarding, and it's rewarding for yourself and for your readers. So, congratulations with that and being brave enough because people will benefit from that. So I think that's one of the things that really motivated me to start this writing course. So when I went through my process and I was writing my book, I was like, I went through all these different emotions, writer's anxiety, writer's block. What are people going to think when they read this book? Is this what people want to hear? Should I make it, about this topic? And quite honestly, if you have that vision inside of you, I want to encourage people to just get it out because there are so many authors and it's for a reason because every author has a different audience, has a different message, has a different word, and people around the world need to hear your message. So my course is going to help people like overcome writer's block, overcome writer's anxiety, learn how to structure their writing plan, come up their table of contents, and pick a topic because some people are super creative and they have all these things they want to talk about and you can't. You just got to pick a timeline. So that's what I would like to do.
It sounds so like to me, like I bring creative to the table, right? And I can look at something and I can do it and it's easy. When you're telling me timeline and figuring this part out and doing this part and doing that, I'm just kind of like, huh? Like what? So how is it, I know you are committed. I know you are determined because, well, how long have you been in the service, by the way?
I've been in going on 8 years.
Wow. Okay. So 8 years in the service. Now you are a woman. We see that, right?
Yes.
You manage, like you said, 100 and people,
50-ish people.
150-ish people. There has to be a lot of men that you are managing and leading and directing. How are you balancing that as a
So
woman?
I would say it's been a growing experience. First and foremost, it's funny because now I'm not used to environments with, a large female population now. I think it's definitely developed me into a better leader, a better woman, and a better just soldier in general. Because when you look at soldiers in any, in the army or any branch, at the end of the day, you have to hit all the same criterias, right? So when I first went into the army, I felt like I had to be like, super structured and super strong and maybe push my femininity to the side. But then over time, I was like, you know what? No, I can still do my position. I can still mean business. I can still be ladylike, but, with with a little bit of oomph to it. So I actually enjoy the male, you know, having a predominantly male environment just because it pushes me. So like when it comes to like our physical fitness test, I strive to max out on the male scale just because I'm
Wow.
female and I'm 5'2", doesn't mean that I can't like hold my weight. So it kind of like every day when I go into work, even as far as like, knowing my job and going to the field and, that time in the month, I learn how to adapt. So
Right.
at one point, I'll be honest, I kind of lost my feminine touch per se. Going to work, I kind of just like put my hair in a bun. Now, I do a light coat of lipstick, and I would like to still be myself when I go to work in a male predominant field.
Yeah. And this is interesting. I mean, we know like you're in the service, you're in the army, so that definitely male predominant. But basically, any corporation, any place that you're going into, it is male predominant. Like
Yes.
I have this new song that I'm listening to, and I listen to it every day. And it's by Taylor Swift called The Man. And it says, if I was doing like you were doing, right? Nobody would even look. They think that it was okay. But if being a woman, we have to literally come like everything we're doing 2 steps over, and then meanwhile taking care of home, taking care of family, doing everything and being in that space. So I think that that's a lot of balancing also that we're doing. So being in the service, being in a corporation, it all comes in there. But I think some of the things that the army teaches you, I think is really, really important. So I know how dedicated you are, like as an accountability partner. Oh, goodness. If you don't have an accountability partner like this one, you need one. Okay. She is awesome. We literally, we probably talk 3 times a week, maybe more. We have a standing call. And then on top of it, we text each other all the time, all the time. So tell me, what is it that while you're starting your business and building that, what is it that you've gotten from the Army that you're putting into your business and doing
Oh,
that?
I would definitely say structure, time management, people skills, right? Because the Army, I'm working with so many different types of people from all over, male, female, different races, different religions. And I think that's the biggest experience that I can take away from the Army. It teaches me how to look at people as one, how to look at what I'm doing. My vision for people is for, I think that's why it's for people in general. Um, yeah, I would say that.
Was it difficult for you to make that decision? Because I know when I was trying to figure out what kind of was my niche and trying to figure that out, and I was all over the place. So was it difficult for you to make the decision to say, I'm really focusing on both men and women? You know, I know we had conversations about that. So tell me, how was that for you when you finally said, this is why I want to do this? But getting to that point, because how many people are out there trying to figure out where are they with that?
I would say it was very difficult because I naturally went to I want to help women because I'm a woman. And then I sat back and I thought about like long term impacts. Men and women need help in this particular area, you know, feeling like the best version of themselves. And I see it every day with hundreds of people that I work with. I can relate to what, you know, some of the challenges that men go through in leadership or some of the challenges that men go through in their personal lives, because like my soldiers, you know, they have situations and I see it. So I think I'm able to provide them tools just as well as women. So I think that's another benefit that I can take away from the Army, being relatable.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that because I think that what you do bring, like if the fact if a man is coming to you to say, this is something that, you know, I want to help with or I want to structure with my business, you're able, like you get it. You've managed, like you said, hundreds of men and probably in situations, you know, you're here protecting our country, you're doing these trainings, you know, you're overseas, all of these different things. And so I think that that is something that you really bring to the table. So what is it then? Because being in this Army life, how do you balance, like I always tease you and I tell you, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, you know, take off the whole Army gear, you know, because how do you balance between those two and knowing when you do let your hair down per se, you know?
I stick to, so right now Sundays are my free days and I stick to and I dedicate it and remind myself even when I wake up in the morning on Sundays and I want to like work, because my brain is just always going. I think you can understand that when you have all these ideas, you
Mhm.
want to get it done. I have honored and dedicated to myself that when it's time for free time, because I work so hard, you know, the other days of the week or the other hours, I
Yeah.
owe this to myself. And then it's time to, you know, become refreshed.
Yeah. It, isn't that important? Because I think as women, we don't do that. We are really, really big on basically going. And we don't take the time out. And we've talked about that. Like, I'm trying to take, because I have a full time job, a consulting job, and then building I Am This Woman and building the website, putting everything together. There is so many different parts and different moving pieces that, like, sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And it's like we talked about it. My coach Jennifer Grace mentioned, and I told you about it, doing these 90-minute sections, right? Where for 90 minutes you work, and then you stop, you dance, you do something else, you move your body, you go take a walk, and then you come back in and you do another 90 minutes. And I think that we could find out that we could get a lot more done if we're really focused. But I think a lot of times we have these big dreams, but we stop at that. And I was listening to something, a friend of mine, Josiah, was on last night, and I was listening to him speak. And I want to kind of ask you some of the questions that really kind of came up for me that made me go, huh. And these are some new things. So you're being kind of tested with the new look and feel, and now with the new da 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 questions.
I love
So
it.
tell me, what is your vision? Like, if what is your ultimate vision, what you want to do?
So ultimately, long term, I just want to be known as someone who empowers people to transition, step out on faith, and go for their passion. So I feel fulfilled when I can provide other people value to accomplish their goals. So
Mm.
long term, I would like to continue to, we're doing the conference December, the entrepreneurship conference, and that's just feeding into others. And Barbara's going to be a speaker. Yeah.
Yay! Yeah. But I love that. And I like that, like your vision is all about being a service and helping others.
Yes.
Not so surprising. You being in that uniform and everything. Kind of like that. So tell me, what keeps you going?
Honestly, what keeps me going is, I guess, my foundation and, in prayer, in Christ, and just wanting to be here on this earth to serve a purpose. Like that is my whole purpose is to serve a purpose. And it's funny because when I was younger, I was so like more selfish, and as I get older, I'm more selfless because I just I just love seeing people go for it and
Yeah.
reaping the benefits.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And I think there's no surprise that, sometimes when we're younger, we do. We're so focused in on what we need and what we want. But I think sooner or later, you do come to that place. And even within you, there's something that says, what, I want to do more. I want to give more. I want to be in service. How do you keep a positive mindset?
Oh, honest prayer. Prayer and support system. Those are two keys. So, like you touched on your circle, um, especially with starting a business, it means more to me than anything. Just to have those people who understand that I can be vulnerable and transparent with, and then brush myself off and get back out. So, between prayer and a support team, I'm good to go.
Yeah, and I like that because I think one of the things that I talk about with having that support system is because when you first start out, people are going to be like, "Yeah, you're going to be able to do that, right?" And then you turn around and you keep on going, and the more that you do, the more people start to come in, and then they start to really say, "You know what? Oh, I see what you're doing. Oh, I want to be a part of that. Oh, I see." And so then you have to kind of start to separate and figure out what is your core circle, the people who really
Yes.
support you,
Yes. Oof.
because not everybody's going to be able to get on your train with you, boo. They're just
You're
not.
absolutely right.
Hmm. Go ahead. Yeah, no, you're right. Because it's like like we met a couple months ago, right?
It is officially maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe May 8th. It's May
So
8th.
was it
So
so
maybe shy of 2 months.
okay. Oh, it's like our little anniversary, our friend anniversary. Yay. And it's funny, but I think when we met, it was so clear that we were going to be friends, but more important, we were going to really hold each other high and
Yes.
really, put each other on this thing of be a stand for what you say you're up to. And when we're going through things and we're having things happen, it doesn't matter. We're still going to turn around and do that. Um, so one of the big things for me is that when Kobe Bryant died a few months ago, it hit me how he spent so much time playing basketball, and then his last 3 years, he was very much into this creating this legacy, you know.
Yeah.
And so he left this earth probably with more of a legacy than most people who've been on this earth. So tell me, if you were going to say, "I'm creating this legacy," what is your legacy that you're creating?
Wow, that's funny because that's actually the foundation of my business, and my business is for my legacy, which I use the word my legacy because anyone that's involved in it, I want them to have ownership, in anything that they do that's associated with me is to build upon their legacy. So um, I think I would like to leave this earth knowing again that I just impacted someone else to step outside the box and go for their dreams.
I love that, and I put it out there for my legacy, and I love the fact that your business is named like you're helping people to create this foundation and this place to be able to say, you know what, this is what I'm up to, and then this is what I'm wanting to help you with as well, because I think having that place, having that space is what really makes a huge impact on everyone else. So for my legacy. Now, I know you're building For My Legacy. So what is For My Legacy going to be about? What is it going to help people with?
So basically, the entire umbrella is going to consist of either courses, self help books, or conferences that are going to teach people how to more so create additional streams of income. So, entrepreneurship is going to be a huge thing for me, providing people the tools and the knowledge and the confidence to start their own foundation, their own business for their legacy, for their family, not only for their family, for the community. So, whatever they're
Love it.
building upon is also going to be an impact to the world ultimately. Um, so that's what I'm providing those
Love
things.
it. I do. I love it. So tell us about your book.
Oh, awesome. Yes. So this is near and dear to my heart. It's timeless because I feel like 10 years from now, someone could whip this out. And basically, this is a 30-week guide to creating unconditional success. And,
Okay.
and unconditional success is basically being able to position yourself to move forward in your life or your goals no matter what you encounter. So, one thing I may not have shared or I may have shared is throughout my life, I've encountered a lot of different challenges. I've encountered things in the workplace, in my relationship, with friends, with a lot of different things, right? And I decided when I was deployed, I was working on a devotional for people deployed soldiers, and I was like, I want to motivate soldiers. But then when I went through a challenge while I was deployed, I was like, you know what? There are people that are struggling behind closed
Everywhere.
doors. And I want to take all of my experiences, all of my challenges that I experienced, and put it in this book and provide people motivation and an action plan to still pull themselves out of a dark place into a place of abundance and progression. Because,
Wow.
you know,
Beautiful. Where were you deployed at?
in Poland,
Okay. I want to go to Poland. It's on my list.
it
And what's the name of your book?
is the 30-week guide to creating unconditional success.
So tell us, 30 weeks. That seems like a lot,
Yes.
so how is that?
So honestly, I will tell you that some of the feedback I've gained from people, I've had a few people who read throughout the entire book. So they started reading one chapter and they just continued to read it in one sitting. There are some people who are reading it every for 30 days. The cool thing that I love about this book is that there are in the contents there are titles, right?
Uh-huh.
And for instance, if you didn't want to do the 30 weeks and you just had a rough day and you were like, you know what? I'm having issues with learn how to wait through this process. So you go to week 7 and it says learning how to wait while enjoying the process. So the
Mm,
titles can help guide you. If you don't want to do 30 weeks and you just want something, a good, powerful bang of motivation, you just go and find something else that might be relevant to you. Um,
I
so that
love
was my
it.
thought process. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I know that 30-week guide. So I love the fact, like you said, because sometimes we just need little nuggets to help to get us through. And
Yes.
other times, like we need like the big major stuff to help to get us through. And I think that those are the things that, when you're looking at it, you're thinking, what is it that I need like right now to get me through whatever else that I'm going through? But I love also because when I start looking at like if you want to change your habits, if you want to change and really and it's I was listening to someone like when I was listening to Josiah last night and he said it's not about this willpower. And then I thought about it and said it's like a will choice because the things that you're wanting to do that you're doing, you're choosing to stay up late, you're choosing to get up and jog, you're choosing to stay in a relationship, you're
Yes.
choosing to work, whatever you're doing. So to me, it's like that will choice, and being able to say, no, you know what, I'm gonna be about the choice of choosing what I'm up to and what I'm creating.
Yes.
So I really, really like that. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to put up there a link so that if anybody's interested in the book, and we'll put a picture up there and everything, the 30-week guide to creating unconditional success. That sounds deep. Like I haven't even read it. I got to get the book. And I love it too, because every week you're like, I'm sending it here and I'm sending the book here and I'm sending
It's
the
been
book here.
traveling.
It is. And it takes a lot. I mean, you're promoting your book, you're putting it out there. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of being able to, and Eric said awesomeness, by the way. So So yay! I love it. Thank you, Eric, for watching. Awesomeness. That's so amazing. But and I think that that's what's so cool is that you have something that's so powerful, and it doesn't have to be 30 weeks, but maybe it's almost like taking those baby steps. You're taking the first step, and making those decisions. So when you think about everything that you're doing and everything that you're up to, and now you're back to, being in the service, like, well, you're always in the service, but full time. Tell me, what are you going to do in the next 45 days? What are you creating?
Oh, so in the next 45 days, my writer's course will be complete. I would still continue to sell these books. It's been picking up like every day, someone is ordering the book. Um, I'm going to be outside of the course. I'm also doing small business Saturdays now. So basically, this is like a small, just talking platform, interviewing current entrepreneurs to inspire other entrepreneurs to step out on faith.
I love that. And it is faith because my gosh, sometimes all I want to do is just lay on the couch and do nothing,
Nothing.
nothing, nothing. Oh my gosh. I would kill to have like 5 days of doing nothing. I don't remember the last time I just did nothing, right? And I think when you're making that choice and being an entrepreneur and stepping forth, you don't have these days of nothing. You have these days of, I'm going to create that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to build that. There's sometimes no downtime because I think you can have downtime when everything else changes. But right now, when you're wanting something, you have to work at it, either
Yes,
work for yourself or you're going to work for someone else.
yes, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
So, in the midst of doing all of this, what is your biggest hurdle to climb?
I think in a mix of everything is, so I've started businesses before while being in the Army, and I've stopped multiple times. And it's not because they weren't successful, it's because I didn't think that I can do it while being in the service.
Mm,
So I refuse this time to stop. I know that I have to be more organized in my schedule. My motivation has to be replenished daily. And I think that's my biggest hurdle, just accepting that, I will dedicate 60, 70 hours to my regular job, and then I'll come home and dedicate to, the vision for my business because it's going to impact people as well.
yeah. I tell you, that is a big hurdle because I'm going to tell you, if you're working 60 hours at your other job, and we were talking about that today, and all of a sudden it's like, how do you balance it? But I make up also, if you ever wrote down how much time you do things, I think you find out that you're doing a lot of on the phone, watching TV, kind of doing these other things. And then you put many hours to your business. But when it comes to your passion, we kind of sometimes we make excuses. I know for years I made excuses, and now forget it. I'm like a freaking dog with a bone. I am. I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna make this happen. This is it. This is what's gonna happen for me. And sometimes I get tired. And I think every day I feel this butt puckering fear, and then I just shake it off and I keep on going,
Right.
So tell me, do you feel that? I mean, it's a big deal. You've written a book, you want people to read it.
Yes.
So what's that little voice, that little fear voice that says, what does it say to you? Because I know what mine says.
Um, so I think the biggest thing for me is just like the biggest fear is stopping again. It's stopping, knowing that I have all these great ideas and knowing that I have things that's really going to impact other people's lives. I think it's
Did you I love it. Eric said, Facebook, Instagramming fills so much time. Let's make social media work for our money and not distract from our money. If I had a mic, I would
yeah.
drop it because that is so good. You're absolutely right. That's all. I see people on social so much. So I'm sorry because I had to put that up there because I was like, oh, pow. But now we'll come back. Eric, you're awesome. Like, I'm going to have to bring Eric on the show.
Good job, Eric.
Yeah, good job. So what is it then for you? I mean, like I said about the fears and the doubts and all those past things and present things and all that.
um Honestly, it I'm sorry. Can you ask that
Yeah,
question?
no problem. The fears and the doubts, like what is it for you? Because
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I just had that moment yesterday. So, my schedule changed, right? Everything is colliding together. I missed some phone calls on my personal side. And I just told myself I have to keep going. I reached out to my support team. I spoke to you, I spoke to my significant other, and I just was able to get that boost I needed. And you can't let the fear sit too long. You can only allow it to happen for a second, because once you allow it to sink in, it starts to take over.
it takes over everything. I have something in the course that I'm writing up, my 6-week course that I'm
Nice.
writing up. Yeah, and it says burn the boats. And one of my old coaches, Charlie, used to say burn the boats. So if you're taking over the island, the boats is your plan B. So he's like burn the boats because it's either you or the island. Like pick it, right?
Yes.
And so now I just go, okay, if this is what I'm going to do, I'm burning the boats because I am this woman is my plan A, and any other plan, the boats are burned, you know?
Yeah.
So I can't go back to the boats. So I'm either going to trudge
I
forward
love
and make it
it.
happen.
Burn the boats. I love that.
I'm telling it's one of my favorite things, and I remembered it. And when I remembered it, I'm like, I get to put this in my course because I want people to know we are so good about making excuses, right? But when it comes to other things, it's like what is it that you're really committed to, you know? So I would say that for me, I literally love this statement, burn the boats,
I love
right?
it. Burn the boats. There's
It
no
is.
other option.
There's no other option. This is your plan A. This is what you say you're doing. And there are so many people out there that have these thoughts and these beliefs, and they're like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do it. And I'll do it when this lines and when this happens and when this happens. But I think what ends up happening is you never do it,
Right.
you know? And then that's it. Is your baby dog trying to say
Yes.
hello?
Yes, he is.
She's so awesome.
She's been
I
doing pretty well so far.
She has. I haven't heard her. Usually she like says hello and all that stuff like that. So I think that's awesome. That's so good. So I would say that what you're doing and what you're creating, and I'm super excited to see when you start to build and you start to create and what you start to do, because I think Eric is becoming my new favorite. He's like, burn the boats. Like, Eric, tell me that's not the best statement ever, right? I think it's just one of those things that I absolutely love. I think it's such a powerful statement. And it hit me last night because I've heard it so many times. And now last night when I was thinking about it, I was like, what am I committed to? Like
Yeah.
really, not willpower, but like will choice. Like this is what I'm choosing. So we're burning the boats. That's how it goes. We're not playing around. So if you have some
Burn
boats,
the boat.
Deb, your boats are burned. They're burnt.
I love it.
That's such. My father would love that also because he was 21 years in the army, so he would
Yes.
absolutely be like, from heaven, he's probably like, yes, burn those
Good
boats.
job.
Yes, that's awesome. So I would ask this, if you were going to leave everybody with this message of what is it that you want to tell people, and especially in this time with COVID-19 and the world is starting to open back up, and I don't think it'll ever look the same. I was in the post office today and a woman literally shouted at me, like, you're not 6 feet. And I'm like, if you would move up where you should be, then it would be okay. I just walked out. I was like, there's no way. This is not safe at all. And I walked out. So it's crazy how things are changing. So what is it that you would leave people with if you were to say, this is what you should think about?
So, what I would like to leave people with is we are all going through this together. We're all going through a change together. We're all taking shifts. Business owners, you're pivoting, employees that have been laid off, um, you know, people who have to go to work on the front line every day. We're all going through a change that we didn't expect, but we
Mhm.
will get through this together. Don't hesitate. Like, if you're at home, if you need support, like, speak to someone that you can trust and you love, and you're going to get through this. So my biggest nugget is also, like, time. Hey, everything happens in the strangest way, sometimes for a very amazing reason. And I know that a lot of people are sitting on gifts and talents, and this would be a great time to step out on faith and put it to work.
I 100% agree with you on that. And I love it. Like pivot, like we'll get through it together, reach out to others. It all happens the way it needs to. It really does. If we are really thinking about things, it happens exactly the way that it needs to happen. And this is where we get to trust. And, my thing is, I do this show because we had an issue at 12 o'clock with Zoom.
Yeah, it
Life
happens.
happens. It does. So what did I do? I was like, okay, we'll figure it out. And then we started to figure it out. And all of a sudden now look, we have StreamYard and it's really cute. And I get to say, like, here's the book. I
I
love
love
it. Oh my gosh, these buttons are amazing.
it.
So the 30-week guide to creating unconditional success. We made sure we talked about burning the boats,
Burn the
right?
boats.
Burn the boats. That's our new thing. Your program for my legacy, which I think is going to be incredibly amazing to help men and women and what they're creating. We're going to, this is how you can get the book, but I'm going to make sure that we put it up there so that everybody can go ahead and they would have it in here. And just in case, guys, if you are thinking about wanting to be a guest on the show, as you can see, as it scrolls across the bottom, to be a guest on our show, email showguest@iamthiswoman.com. We are also looking for bloggers. So if you want to turn around, you can submit a blog for I Am This Woman. You can email blog@iamthiswoman.com. Again, blog@iamthiswoman.com. And Deb, I'm so impressed with you. And because how old are you?
Oh, I'm 31.
Yeah, you're so cute. All right, so I have shoes older, but that's okay. I have no sense. What do
I
you
feel like
want?
I have an older soul.
You do, girl. You remind me. You know what? It's so funny. My dad has been gone for a few years, but you remind me so much of him. And then you're
Oh,
in the army, so I think he kind of just said, "Here you go. I got a soldier for you." So
awesome, awesome.
I love it. So I just want to thank you for being on the show. I want to thank you for being my accountability partner, and thank you for what you're doing. Besides serving the country, but also serving humanity and serving people. And I love that. And I think that's such an incredible thing that you're doing. So I just think that you are someone special. And by the way, guys, she's so funny. Super funny. We laugh more than anything else. We send each other the silliest text messages and we laugh, and I think that that's something that's really important. But let's go ahead and let's show your book one more time.
Okay. All right. This is, here we go.
There you go.
30-week
30-week
guide
guide to creating
to
unconditional success.
unconditional success.
Wow, that's incredible. I absolutely love that. I think that if you're looking for a good read, this is something that's really amazing. Like she said, it's not just the 30 weeks, Deb, like she mentioned, go in there and you find your nuggets. And sometimes it's the nuggets that leads you to the greatness. That's what it all comes down to. And again, if you're looking to be on the show, I think we have one more slot open in July, and then we're starting to go into August.
Woo!
Oh, wait a minute. By the way, Eric says week 25 is the best chapter. All right. I need you to send me a book. I'm going to get a book because I'm going to go
Yes.
for it. Yes, yes,
Woo!
yes. So week 25 is the best chapter. So again, guys, this is something that I think is really important, and I love unconditional success. I love even how you say it, unconditional success. I think that makes it even more so because it's like, just go for it. Just like live this dream,
Go.
live this life. Just go
Yes.
for it. Usually what I do is when I'm closing out, I always ask our guests to say their name and say, I am this woman. So if you could go ahead and do that.
Sure. I am Deborah Nelson, and I am this woman.
And if you were saying it with your, army title and everything, what would it be?
It would be Captain Nelson. I am this woman.
Captain Nelson. Woo! Look, she even taught me how to do the little thing and my hands, and then she's like, turn it this way, and then
Lift your
put
arm up a
your
little
thumb.
bit more.
Oh, that's
Yep.
right.
Hand down.
I'm not.
Your dad would be proud.
Oh, yay! That's awesome. Thank you for humoring me. And guys, again, Barbara Hort, and I'm the founder and the host of this crazy show, I Am This Woman. And on Monday, we have a super special guest. I'm super excited. We have the assistant mayor of Coconut Creek who's going to be coming on. Besides being an assistant mayor, he is also a father, and he wants to talk about how he is with his two daughters. So I love the fact that he's going to be coming on and joining us on the show. Um, and if you're interested in being on the show, we have some new sneak kind of surprising guests that are going to be coming on also. So what started out with the Friday show, all of a sudden I have these in between shows that are like popping in and everything. So
Awesome.
remember some of the things that we talked about. Okay, go for it. Trust. Pivot. 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 And when all else fails, burn the boats.
Burn the boat.
Burn the boats.
Burn the boat.
I can see you in front of the guys. You're gonna be like, burn the boats. And they're
Burn
gonna
the boats.
be, what are you talking about?
I love it. I love it.
That's awesome. All right, thanks guys so much. Deb, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You're amazing, and I'm sure you will be on the show another time because I'm just gonna call you out and have you on the show. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and end it. Everyone have a great weekend, and to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Even if don't forget it is Mother's Day, people. If you haven't done something for your mom, please do something for your mom. Don't forget her. Just because it's COVID-19, do not use that excuse. Somebody call my son and tell him, don't use the COVID-19 excuse. He will be in trouble. All right. So thank you so much, guys. Take
Thank you
care
so
now.
much.